104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. We now go out to Buffalo from WGR. Reporter of the Buffalo Bills, Sal Capaccio, with us. Look, Sal, we talked at camp, and you were positive. You thought this team had the right stuff to be at least a winning team here and there. Did you think they were this good?
I didn't think they'd be 3-1 after 4 games. I didn't think they could have the type of team to, go to Atlanta, win the way they did. And this good. That's kind of that's a good way to put it. It's a question for me. I don't know how good I think they are. I don't know how good anybody thinks they are. I just think that they're better right now, quicker to me than they would have been. I thought they'd be competitive this year. I thought they had a chance to be 8-8. So I think they're better than what I anticipated. But at the same time, it's come quicker than I thought. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
I'm seeing this viral video with LaShawn McCoy, and then I see your face. There's Sal Capaccio right in the video. Take us into that locker room. Was everyone having that same mindset that McCoy had, that it's time to talk to the winners now, the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I mean, we get in there, and because we carry Sean McDermott's press conference live, I go right to the players so that we can kind of double team on everything. So I get over there as quick as possible so I can get in the locker room, and as soon as we walk in, I'm there with a couple of guys with cameras. John Scott, I'll give him the credit from Spectrum News here in Buffalo. He's the one shooting that. And I'm standing in front of him, and the first thing we see is LaShawn McCoy, and because the locker room had just opened, he's shouting at everybody, as you saw, "You all picked us to lose. You all picked us to lose. Now come talk to the winners. Come talk to the winners." And, now you want to talk to the winners, right? And he's just being shady. That's who he is. You know what I mean? That's the way he talks. There are not many guys in that team that would probably be willing to do something like that, but he doesn't care. He's going to do that. And so what you saw from me was I was trying to go talk to him. He said, "Let's talk." So I'm trying to chase him around. Okay, come on, what do you want to talk? I got my phone in my hand, which is actually doubles as my recorder, and I'm like, come on. And then they basically told us, so everybody knows, like, he wasn't going to talk to us because he was going to the podium to talk, so we couldn't gather around his locker anyway, so then all of it was for nothing.
Sal Capaccio, Buffalo Bills reporter from WGR, joining us right now on 104.5 The Team. Sal, I can't get over this. So I got to go back to it. We're at the camp. They're doing like basic drills and stuff. You were telling us the difference between the McDermott regime and the Rex Ryan regime. Is this success more of an indictment on Rex or a compliment to McDermott?
Great question. I think it's more of a compliment to McDermott because I don't know who. To me, it wouldn't have mattered necessarily who the previous coach was. This is who Sean McDermott is, and I think that he's doing what he needs to do, and for them to turn the roster over the way they did, and to still have the early success that they're having, it kind of speaks volumes. And the fact that they're already planning for the future, they have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds next year, 2 in the first, second, and third, plus the success they're having. That really speaks more to Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane and what they've built. Now, there is criticism of Rex Ryan, absolutely. I mean, they should have been running a different defense, but Rex is Rex. He was going to run his defense. They didn't have them in the right position necessarily, or he ran an antiquated defense, I should say. Some guys were not playing, in the right spots for what their skill set was or things like that. But let's remember, Rex Ryan was one of, 5, 6 coaches through the drought that did not make the playoffs. It's not about Rex Ryan. To me, it's about Sean McDermott, and maybe you finally have not only McDermott, but in Brandon Beane, an entire front office and organization that's been retooled. Maybe you finally have a group that, is able to do the things that everybody else, not just Rex Ryan, wasn't able to do.
What's the latest on Jordan Matthews and his status going forward?
Well, he is having, or had, I should say, thumb surgery. I think he probably had it already this week. And he's going to miss probably about a month. He's a wide receiver, so it's a little different. It's not like a guy that just has to go and run down on special teams and tackle people or something like that. It's going to be tough for him to get back in catching the ball. So we're looking at probably about 4 weeks. Now, let's remember they do have a bye week after this one at Cincinnati. Then you come home for 2. So if he could miss maybe that Tampa game and be back for Oakland, I think that would be, a good thing that he can come back early. But you might be looking at him missing all through the homestand after that, which is Tampa and Oakland. And I think the Jets game is right after that. Actually, that's a Thursday night. So, if it lingers on, you might even be looking at missing that because they have an extra 10 days before the next game.
Sal, you brought up Oakland. EJ Manuel looks like he might be the quarterback when the Bills play Oakland. Any fears that he's figured something out in Oakland that he couldn't figure out in Buffalo?
I think there's always going to be that fear for Bills fans, right? It's kind of like the thing that always happens. Oh, we're Buffalo, so obviously he's going to come back and he's going to beat the Bills. But Ryan Fitzpatrick did it when he was with Houston. I think EJ is EJ, and I'm glad for EJ. I think EJ's a really, really good guy. I'm glad that he works his butt off. He does. He's not, to me, quality starting quarterback in this league for a long haul, but I'm glad that he worked his way to a backup role. And if he comes to Buffalo, I think that's a lot better situation for the Bills than facing Derek Carr.
Let's stick with those Bills fans. I think you used the term, or someone else, that the Bills fans right now are curiously optimistic. Is that how you describe it?
One of my callers did on Monday. It was really cool. I host the Extra Point show here on Mondays on WGR and simulcast on MSG, and they a caller called up and said, curiously optimistic. I like that.
Would you say that's the majority of Bills fans right now in Western New York, how they feel about that team?
Majority, I don't know. It's so you guys know this, right? You always got your fans who are always drinking the Kool-Aid no matter what. Now, the team could be 5-7, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to win out the last 3 or 4 games, and we're going to make the playoffs." You could have a team and you could have all your other people who are always the cynics no matter what, and the team could start off 8-0, and they could tell you all the bad things about them and say, "Yeah, but they still don't have a quarterback, and it doesn't matter, and they'll never win a Super Bowl." You could have those people. I think the most logical, level-headed Bills fans, let's put it that way, are understanding that this is probably a much better team than they thought it would be, but understand also that twice during this drought, they've gotten off to great starts, and it did not go that way. And in fact, they were 3-0 in 2011. They went to Cincy and lost in Week 4. In 2008, they started off 4-1 and 5-2, if you remember with Trent Edwards when the concussion year. So, people have been down this road before. I think logical, level-headed Bills fans, most of them are cautiously optimistic, if not curiously. And, but I will say, a lot of Bills fans are mad and think that it's ridiculous that the Bengals are favored this week. I don't. I understand. It's the NFL. I mean, it's a 3-point favorite. Yeah, maybe it should be a pick 'em. I don't know. But, what the league is saying is that it's an even game, and Cincy's at home. Buffalo's banged up. Right. Cincy's playing a lot better after their offensive coordinator switch. So I've gotten a lot of that this week from Bills fans. They still don't believe in us. Disrespect since he's favored. But come on, man, it's the NFL. That's the way it works.
Do you think the Bills pull this victory out?
I do. I don't think it's going to be easy. I could see them losing. I could tell you that. I mean, I'm not gonna go on Sunday morning in our pregame show and pick them to lose. I think I'll pick them to win. But it's because I think that they're just better than Cincinnati, and they have better parts right now. They're stopping the run. Cincy is struggling to stop the run. I think the matchups play in their favor. The offensive line for Cincy is banged up. I think the Bills can get after Andy Dalton and make him throw some passes to them possibly. But I'll say this. I think Cincinnati is a team that you cannot look past the way that they're playing the last 2 weeks. They have 56 points scored. They went toe-to-toe with Green Bay. If it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, they would have lost that game. They beat the you-know-what out of Cleveland. I know it's Cleveland, but they played really well in that game. And, guys, the Bills do have a bye next week, and that's always tricky going into your bye. Atlanta was going into a bye. Teams are, people do kind of look ahead a little bit. It's human nature. You're starting to make travel arrangements. You're not quite focused. You're coming off this big win in Atlanta where no one seemed to believe in you. You're riding this high. You got all these distractions of media and people talking about you all week. So I think all of those things are to be worried about for the Bills this week, but I just think that the matchups still play in their favor.
Sal Capaccio, he follows the Bills. He's embedded with the Bills, we'll say. He's right there for everything, and we appreciate you making time to let us know how cool it is that they're off to such a great start.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Anytime. It's always fun to talk about the team in these situations because I get calls a lot of times from other places as well that they want to talk about draft picks and who the quarterback's going to be next year. So it's nice to talk about when they're winning.
You earned it, my friend. You cover them. I've watched you run after guys, so that just impressed me because I know most of our insiders, they're not running.
Thanks. I'm probably not catching them, but I'm trying.